prestigious tournament in the universe, the most watched, the most passionate, the most talked about, the most sought after, the most united tournament in the world, baby. The World Cup is back again. But I need you to do me a favor. If you are as excited as I am, I need you to do me a favor, guys. I'm not asking for a donation. I'm not asking, you don't see my Cash App under here, but I do need you to donate your time and effort. Won't take nothing but a second, guys. I need you to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button for me, please, and drop your comments in the comment section, and hit that notification button. I'll keep you notified every time I drop a new video. Now, without further ado, we're going to get right into it. But before we get started, I do have to tell you this first episode is brought to you by Mother Jewels, who makes one of the flyest, the coolest, the smoothest crochet gear that will keep you warm all winter long. See, I got mine in gold. You know, I'm a big gold type fan. So, you know, I had to get mine stuff in gold. Link will be coming soon for you guys to place your orders and such. All right. Pardon my hair, you know, it's cold out here, so I grew up my hair to keep me warm. Can't have no heat leaving my hair, nothing. All right. Without further ado, we're going to jump right into it. Now, we got 3 topics we're going to be talking about. The first one, we're going to be going over the 32 teams who's made it to the World Cup. Congratulations to them. Second, we're going to be talking about the 3 big misses in this tournament. And lastly, I'm going to be giving you guys my picks to make it out of the round, to make it to the round of 16. All right, without further ado, we're going to dive right into it. Let's go. All right, so in Group A, we have Qatar, we have Ecuador, we have Senegal, and we have Holland, or Netherlands to some people. Now, with this group, first things first, Qatar made it to the World Cup as host nations. I do believe that, especially for recent years, Qatar will be the worst host nation to have ever, you know, participated in the tournament. Simply because I believe that they are learning football as well. They're more so growing into that footballing status. They're not there yet. All right. They just recently won their first Asian title in 2019. And then 2019, they were invited to the Copa America. That didn't go too well for them. In a sense, they had some type of accomplishment, because although they lost 2 games, and we all know the Copa America have powerhouses in there, they managed to tie a game. So if you ask me, that's progress for their standards, and their standards is pretty low. Pretty low. You can't really expect much from them. 2021. They were also invited to the CONCACAF, where you have US, Mexico, and such, and they placed 3rd. So if you ask me, you know, that's another progress. I think, like I said, they're progressing in the world of football. And then you have Ecuador. Ecuador has just always been there. I like Ecuador because, one of the reasons I like them, they have a lot of black players, but for some reason they just can never seem to get going. There's just always been a team that just there. Then you have Senegal. I will be back to Senegal. Senegal is actually one of Africa's hope. Senegal, one thing I respect about Senegal is that their coach, Mr. Kessie, has installed this lion heart in them. You know, this never say die spirit, where they don't back down from any team. So cheers to them for that. As you guys know, I'm from Africa, so I represent my continent. And then we'll have Netherlands, another team that's for a powerhouse. There's never really been a team that you can expect a lot from. You will never Netherlands will never go to the World Cup and say, oh, and people are pointing to them as one of the favorites or uh, 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 they're bound to win the World Cup or with that pressure. You know, they've just always been one of those powerhouses that counted. Um, Group B, we have England, Iran, USA, and Wales. Um, England. If you've been paying attention to football, you already know England has always been a team that always underachieves for the amount of stars that they have. England has surprised many for the amount of players that they had on paper and just could never do anything. Um, I am surprised that England brought Harry Maguire, the former Leicester City defender, who's now currently captaining and playing his trade at Manchester United. Now it's crazy because I'm not, although I'm surprised, I'm not too surprised as well because Maguire is one of those players who performs for his country. And we've seen players like that who are so great for their country, but are shit for clubs. And unfortunately, he might just be one of those people. You have Mexico's goalkeeper, Ochea. Same scenario. This man is a beast in the World Cup, but clubs, you don't even know what clubs he played for or what club he plays for. So he might just be that person. I am surprised that they left Tomari, who I feel like is a better defender than Maguire. But again, like I said, Maguire is for country. He's been a hit. Now it's yet to be determined when he come up against strong opponents like the likes of Argentina, Brazil, Germany, Uruguay, and such. So we will see. Okay, we have Iran. Iran is not a team to mess with. Iran is really not a team to sleep on. Iran, especially this year, I feel like Iran can surprise many. And so you just never know. This is actually a tricky group for me. You have Wales. Wales are, a lot of players. Most of their players plays in the Premier League. So I do believe that team chemistry will be there. They do have Gary Bale, who, although playing his trade in the USA, he is lethal. As a matter of fact, I wish instead of him coming to the US, he would have went to Barcelona. Cheers to that. But Wills could surprise many as well. We have James. I like him, fast young player, currently playing at Leeds, who was formerly of Manchester United. Then you have USA. Now, out of this group, I don't see USA winning any game at all in this group. They have decent midfielders. Don't know much about their defenders. But don't know meaning like I don't think that they will pass any test. But yeah, I really don't see. Matter of fact, I don't see USA getting out of that group. Wales think it'll be tricky. It'll be a tricky scenario. It'll be a tricky scenario between Wales and Iran. Group C, we have Argentina, Saudi Arabia, Mexico, and Poland. You have the big dogs, Argentina, in Group C. That's going to be an interesting group as well. Saudi Arabia has never really been good in the World Cup. That's a team that's always just been there as every team's hooker. One of those teams where every team just go and take points out of them, and that's it. So that's been Saudi Arabia. Mexico, it's crazy. Mexico is interesting, especially coming up against Argentina, because when Mexico play, especially in recent years, USA has had Mexico by the balls, by the cojones. US has had them by the balls. You know, I think now there's a thing that's going around called 12-0, and which I guess they've been beating these guys so often now they've really boosted them, the USA ego, if you will. But ironically, when Mexico play against Argentina, they play with their hearts out. They play with their hearts out. Mexico, it's so crazy because when you see Mexico play against Argentina, and then you see, and then you think to yourself, how is it possible that this team can let the USA beat them? It just doesn't make sense. So that's gonna be interesting. Then you have Poland in the group, who, as we know, Robert Lewandowski, a world-class striker, plays for. Lewandowski is actually unfortunate because he's not blessed with a footballing. He's not blessed with a footballing nation. Now, Poland has had some good players, but just like most African countries, they represent other countries, especially countries that colonize them. You have Poland, who you have people like Mesut Ozil, who chose to represent Germany instead of Poland. So Robert hasn't really been, blessed with good players, which is why it comes to no surprise to me that he is still currently searching his first goal in a tournament. But I do see in this group, I see him breaking that record. I see Robert getting, especially playing against a team like Saudi Arabia, I see him getting not only his first, second, third, probably fourth, fifth. Germany in the past has had fun playing against Saudi Arabia, so it might just be a time, Robert. And then for Group D, we have France, Australia, Denmark, and Tunisia. Just like Saudi Arabia and Tunisia has always been a team that's just there, just take space in the World Cup. They've actually been one of the teams from Africa that always frustrated me representing the continent, because they don't do nothing. They don't do nothing. They're just another team that are other teams' hooker, where they just go take points out of them. I definitely don't see Tunisia doing anything in this group. Denmark, I know Christensen, formerly of Chelsea, now currently playing at Barcelona. He is a good player, but I don't think he's gonna be enough. And you have those Australians, you just never know. You just never know. They could surprise you. They could very much so surprise you. And other times they could, they could surprise you in a good way, and then other times they could surprise you in a negative way. They do have a fighting spirit. That's one thing I like about them. Yeah, man. That's another team. You just never know. And then, of course, you have France. The interesting thing about this group is France is going to have so much fun with them, unless the curse of the World Cup winner happens to France. And what I mean is, how the previous winner never seemed to do well in the next World Cup, would get out of the group stage, unless that curse continues with France. I don't see it happening. Now I don't see it happening this year. I don't see it happening in this group. France, even if France brought their third team or their second team, they can still beat everybody in this group. Now, it's crazy because, especially in the World Cup, you're gonna have a lot of hungry lions for France, the like of Mbappe, Karim Benzema, Dembele, Koeman. You're going to have a lot of these boys who are just hungry to add to their goal tally. record-wise in the World Cup. So Group D spells trouble. I just Friends gonna be a lot. They're gonna be a lot to contain in this group. Then you got Group E where we have Spain, Costa Rica, Germany, and Japan. Now, as I am a Barcelona fan, my number one league, resides in Spain. My favorite team, my number one team, resides in Spain, being Barcelona. But unfortunately, I'm not too convinced on the national team. Have loads of exciting young players, yes, but Spain will be tricky because you see in the past, Spain has had class forwards. The likes of Fernando Torres, David Villa, to name a few, and those guys has never really been that great in the World Cup. And by great meaning they've never been, on the level of say the phenom Ronaldo or Miroslav Klose and such, for their countries. Spain's style of play alone, their midfielders has helped them a lot, even when they won the last World Cup. So you just never know with them. But even with them, they had the kind of midfielders they had then, and now is these guys are still, they're still getting there. Or they're not quite there yet. And a lot a lot contributes to that actually. But yeah, Spain, I don't see anyone clear cut who could really put the ball away. I mean, yes, they have Ansu Fati, they have Williams, Naki Williams' little brother, have him. Ferran Torres misses a lot of goals. Marcos Asensio really isn't. He's a shadow of himself, so you just never know. Sarabia is not. He's not that reliable, So you just never know. But the one thing I will say, it could be a good thing in the sense that Spain's threat can come from different angles. So that's a positive, but I'm not so sure. Then you have Costa Rica, who's just always been there, just always there. They've had, honestly, they've had probably about two good players, semi-class players. Not much has really become of them. Costa Rica, they've been always one of those teams that they have heart. They'll have heart, but not really much is expected of them. Then you have Germany. This is probably going to come as a surprise to a lot of you guys, but I don't see Germany being a threat. But then again, Germany has never really been like threat. Even when they took the World Cup, when they luckily narrowly won the World Cup from Argentina, Germany has never really been like a threat like that. So yes, this year this team, I don't see anybody that's gonna be convincingly fearing, if you will. You don't. I mean, yes, they have Leroy Sané, but he can be inconsistent. I don't see much. I don't see him doing much, and he's most certainly not going to be feared by anyone, especially any of the other powerhouses. You have Muller, who's actually chasing the record of most goals in the World Cup. If he doesn't get it this World Cup, he might get it the next World Cup. But there's really not much to say from Germany. Germany is not a team that if they can be when they are going against my picks, I'm gonna hold my breath and be worried because I know it could go either way. Then you have Japan. Japan has always been a team that Japan don't back down. They don't back down. They have heart, and Japan is they are so used to playing against powerhouses that I think that contributes to knocking the fear out of them. They just Japan just have zero fear. They go out there and they go out there to win. They don't play fear football. They don't play parking the bus football. They go out there and they go at your neck. Um, Very disciplined, very structured. So, and man, are they fast and have some energy. Very fit team. Then in Group F, this is a tricky group where you have Belgium, you have Canada, you have Morocco, and you have Croatia. Um, this group is interesting because it could go either way. Any of those teams can come up as first and second out of the group. Belgium, Belgium is Belgium is hilarious because they they're like they remind me of England as well, where it's like so they are blessed. Like I guarantee, if Robert Lewandowski had some of these players, he wouldn't be in the boat that he's in. Um, you know how when you see apples, right? You see the red the red apple. Then there's green apple. Then there's another apple that's just there, right? So the red apple you take like super red. It's sweet, right? The sweet red apple. You take a bite. Yes, it's sweet. And then the green apple. You already know the green apple have its taste. You know, um, also nice. You know, and then there's some apples where you bite it, assume it's gonna be sweet, but then it's not sweet. It's just there. That's Belgium. Belgium have stars. Belgium is another team that if they were to, they could really form a starting 11 of players who they did not call, and those players would be world class players starting on other club teams and such. And yet they just can't seem to do anything. Last World Cup, yeah, they took on Brazil. They did decent against Brazil, but overall, it's like they're not really threatening. You have Kevin De Bruyne, you have both the Hazard brothers, you have Baishuai, they have loads of people, Origi, they have loads of people, Lukaku, everyone just can't seem to do anything, you know. And a lot of these guys now are approaching the twilight of their career, and then, so you have Canada. Canada is a team I feel like can surprise many. Of course, they have David Alfonso Davis of Bayern Munich playing for them, who oftentimes he plays as a winger for them. Um, but I can see because they don't have any specific star on their team. I could see them being a threat, and you don't know which angle that threat can come from. Then you have Morocco, another team too, who can be a threat representing, the continent. Um, you have Ziyech, you have Hakimi. These guys. Morocco can surprise. I believe they can really surprise if, depending on how the coach put them together. But I can see Morocco being a major surprise as well. And then you got Croatia, last World Cups, runner-ups, home to Luka Modric, Perisic, Kovacic from Chelsea. You know, they're decent, but a lot of them are old. Um, but they have the sense. They have the sense. Last World Cup was they. A lot of them were old, but they had the sense, and the sense took them far. You know, um, I just don't see them doing much this time around. Sincerely, I don't see them doing much this time around. But it could, you never know with them. You honestly never know with Croatia. Um, I feel like it could go either way. A young team like Morocco could give them problem. A young fast team like Morocco and even Canada could probably give them problem. So Group F is one tricky group for me. Then you have Group G where we have Brazil, Serbia, Switzerland, and Cameroon. You already know Brazil being a big dog. You know they're gonna have fun in that group. Although Brazil interesting because like France, Brazil they have a lot of they brought center backs, few outside backs. The midfielder is questionable, although France has better midfielders than Brazil. Um, simply because the Friends have the younger, fresher guys that can cover more grounds. Brazil have Casemiro, Fred, Fabinho. Um, and I mean I think Lucas Paqueta. He also plays in the midfield at from time to time. Very versatile. Actually reminds me of Raul Di Paul. But he Brazil, most of their star power is in their attack. Their forward line. Where they have abundance of them. Anthony, Rafinha, Neymar, Rodrigo. What's the other one name? Vinicius, Gabriel Jesus. You have them same identical to France, whereas France have unlimited forward line attackers, and then they have brought center defenders and very few outside backs, and so. But I could definitely see Brazil winning this group. Serbia is just gonna be there. Serbia's never really been a team that's like, another thing that's just there. Yes, they will hold their own, but you can only hold for so long. I don't think they've even ever produced. Since Pablo Nedved and those guys retired, Serbia has just been there. You got Switzerland, another team that's just gonna be there. Then you got Cameroon, another African pride who could surprise many. You got Choupo-Moting, who plays for Bayern Munich, recently been on a good goal scoring run. He's in there, so you never know. And then lastly, we have Group H. We got Portugal, Ghana, Uruguay, and you have Korea Republic, led by Song Min, the Tottenham forward. This group is going to be an interesting group as well. Portugal, star power on paper. That doesn't really mean much. The coach really gonna have to put them together well. We don't know how that's gonna be, so it's something where we can't really, we just have to wait and see. They're most certainly not untouchable in that group. There's no head and shoulders above the rest, like you were seeing in the previous group, Group H, or Group C, or Group D. There's not that. There's just really not that. In this group, I feel like on a given day, anybody can beat anybody. Portugal will definitely have their work cut out for them against the likes of Ghana, Uruguay, and even Korea. Because again, those Korea Republic is another team where they're not going to back down from anyone. They will come to win games, and if you sleep on them, they will punish you. Ghana, although they don't have a out and out forward, although Ghana never really had that threat of a forward. But you see, one thing about Asamoah Gyan, his playing style gelled the team together. It brought the team. It made the team better. It brought something out of the team. You understand? And since his retirement, Ghana hasn't really had that. So that's going to be interesting to see this new school Ghana national team. I do one thing I will give Ghana respect for. Ghana has always been a team that don't back down from nobody. Don't matter if you are a World Cup champion like a Brazil or anybody, they don't back down from you. They really come to they don't come to compete. They come to win. Ghana has been one of the few teams in Africa that I've always been proud of because they represented the continent well on the big stage. There's been times where even when Ivory Coast had Drogba, Yaya Toure, Koulo Toure, I would still choose Ghana over them because those teams like Ivory Coast and such, you always see that fear or that respect when they're playing against those powerhouses. Ghana just never cared for it. So if Ghana have that same attitude coming into this World Cup, that's going to be very beneficial for them. Uruguay, you already know Uruguay. I will come back to them, but Uruguay tend to produce good forwards and good defenders. The midfielders be questionable. You do have Valverde of Real Madrid, who's also playing for them. So it could be interesting. It could be interesting. Could be really interesting. So and then like I said, Korea Republic has some Son from Tottenham. That group, anybody can beat anybody on a given day. All right. So now the next thing I will tell you guys is this, right? These are just my picks that I believe will make it out of the group stage. You can drop your comments. Let me know who you have advancing just out of the group stage to the round of 16. All right. So Group A, I have Senegal, and I have Holland advancing out of that group. Okay. Group B, I have England advancing out of that group, and I have Wales slightly having that edge over Iran and advancing out of that group. So Wales and England. Group C, I have Argentina. I have advancing out of that group, and I have Mexico advancing out of that group. Group D, obviously France is going to advance out of that group. And this group is so tricky, it could go either way, but I'm going to say it's going to be France and Australia advancing out of that group. I just don't feel like Denmark. Yeah, I just don't see Denmark doing much in that group. So Group E, I have Group E, I have Germany advancing out of that group, and I'm gonna say Japan. Could go either way, either Japan or Spain, but I could see Japan edging Spain and advancing out of that group. Group F, I have Morocco advancing out of that group, and I have Belgium advancing out of that group. But this is a group where if I was betting, right, if anybody came to me and said, "Oh, bet $1,000, bet $100," nope, I'm gonna bet $20, $10 or $20, because it could go either way. It could be Morocco and Croatia. It could be Morocco and Canada advancing out of that group. It could go either way. But my pick, I'm going to pick Belgium, and I'm going to pick Morocco advancing out of that group. Group G, obviously, is going to be Brazil, and it's going to be Cameroon advancing out of that group. And then, lastly, Group H is going to be Ghana advancing out of that group, and it's going to be Uruguay advancing out of that group. I don't see Portugal making it. I don't see Portugal making it out. Call me crazy, but I really don't see Portugal making it out of that group. Now, I believe that there are three big misses in this World Cup. Okay. Now, first of all, it's crazy that England, like I said, it's crazy that England decided to bring Maguire. But what's even more crazy is Spain decide to leave Sergio Ramos and bring Eric Garcia instead. I don't understand what's going on there, but that's interesting as well. But the three big misses in this tournament are as follows in the order. I believe the team with the major miss, the biggest miss in this tournament, is Senegal losing Sadio Mane. Sadio Mane is their best player, and with him getting out of that group, with him getting injured, and that immediately gets him out of that group, and they had first called him to the World Cup while monitoring his recovery in hopes that he would be able to make some part of the games. But unfortunately, he has been ruled out completely. He will not participate in any of the games, and that's a huge blow. That is a huge blow to the number one hopes of Africa, the African champions. And it's sad, man. I feel bad for him. Honestly, when he got hurt days before the World Cup, hurting his fibula, his bone, in the upper knee or upper shin towards the knee area. Bone injuries is so annoying. They're so annoying. They take long time to heal, and I knew he wasn't gonna make it, but I was hopeful. But when he was finally ruled out, that broke my heart. That really broke my heart. That hurt my soul. So he is definitely the biggest miss in this tournament. Now I'm, in 7 matches with him contributing 3 goals. What tells me that that means that the burden was shared. Although he was the best player by far, head and shoulders above, but the burdens were shared. And like I said, the culture the coach has installed amongst the guys, I think that Senegal can do something. They can still be a threat, but with Sadio, they would have been an even bigger threat. If that makes sense. Hopefully this means that they are way more unpredictable with Sadio being out. That means that they don't really have a focal point that other teams can pay attention to. I'm hoping that is the case. We could really help them. Now, whoever they're going to choose to replace Mane, that's why it's a replacement. He is replacing Mane, but he's not Mane, and it's levels to it, so hopefully he'll bring his attributes, his version of himself that will help the team as a whole. But Senegal was really my hope. And the second biggest miss in this World Cup is Ronald Araujo for Uruguay. He is a brick wall. He is a brick wall in that team. So for him to be ruled out, well, technically he's not completely ruled out yet, like Sadio. But just like Sadio, he did get injured. He went through the surgery process. Now he was called, and they're monitoring his recovery. Hopefully he makes it, but hopefully he's also not rushed, because you got to think about practice, because practicing on your own, then game fitness is different. You understand? So all those things, they're going to pay attention to that and see if he will be able to help the team. But as it stands, he is a major miss in that back line. And again, like Sadio, there will be a replacement for him, but that replacement will not be Ronald Araujo. This kid had a huge contribution towards them qualifying for the World Cup, and he's just a phenomenal kid. He's just he's got heart. He's got heart. Also the heart of Barcelona on defense. Okay. And then lastly, the third biggest miss in this tournament is Giovanni Lo Celso of Argentina. Here's why. Argentina midfield with Giovanni Lo Celso in it is a good marriage. A beautiful marriage. They all complement each other. Leandro Paredes, Raul Di Paul, Giovanni Lo Celso complement each other so perfect. Even for his club, the kid is so wonderful. Offensively, very sound, very gifted, technically gifted, can cover grounds like crazy, very fit, and defensively, he's a ball winner. He's a ball winner, which allowed Messi to just do his thing. So with him being out, and he had a major part to play in Argentina achieving their Copa America win for the first time in years. He has been very instrumental throughout their qualifiers. He's just a beautiful player who complement Scaloni's team and midfield so perfect. Now, I know they're going to be in replacement. Recently, they've called few players up. But, again, just like the other two big misses, they're just not Lo Celso. They're just not. I know they just called Thiago Almada, a young kid, 20 years, I believe, who plays for Atlanta. Good, fast winger, technically gifted. Seen him play a couple times. He could fill that position, and he can play attacking mid and also on the wing. Seeing him play, he's gifted as well. But we don't know much of him yet to really determine if he can be that proper fill-in for Gio Lo Celso. But guys, those are the three biggest misses in the tournament for me. Friends will be questionable. So I don't know. I know a lot of people have friends as their favorite. My favorites are as follows, right? All the African teams in the World Cup are my favorites first. And then Argentina. Second. That's my favorite to win the World Cup. It's going to be an exciting tournament. I cannot wait for it. I'm gonna watch every game, and I'm going to try to do as many reaction as I can to these games. But you won't know about it unless you hit that notification button that will notify you every time I drop a new video. Hit that like button, guys. Hit that subscribe button to keep updated and help my channel spread, guys. And that's the only way I get to have more and more viewers. Your support is needed. Please support me in this arena. Cheers to you guys. This is the football way. I cannot wait for the World Cup, baby. Salud.